You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Virginia Beach branch of the NAACP. They're calling for a citizens review board with full investigative and subpoena powers after the deadly Oceanfront shootings that took place on Friday. The shootings took the lives of Donovan Lynch and Deshayla E. The police chief revealed that the officer who fatally shot Lynch had a body camera that was not activated at the time. The NAACP attended a special session with the city regarding the shooting this afternoon. And joining us now is Dr. Hills Pruden, president of the Virginia Beach NAACP. I'm glad to have you on the show here, Karen. Look, I have said this repeatedly. I fundamentally believe if you're a cop with a body camera and you do not turn it on, you should automatically be fired.
Certainly agree with that.
What explanation was given? Like, I don't understand. What's the point of wearing a body camera if you're going to turn it off?
Absolutely. I certainly agree with that. That's a $5.5 million investment for the city. Those are the questions that we have for the city ourselves. Had a recent meeting on today where the chief of police explained more, but didn't share much of anything because now he's turned the investigation over to the state police. But right now, no explanation given as to why the body-worn camera was not turned on.
So, in the case of Donovan, how did he get shot?
Well, don't know. There were 3 separate shootings down at the Oceanfront on Friday, March the 26th. We don't have the specifics of what happened between the exchange between Donovan and the officer. That was one of the incidents that happened down at the Oceanfront. There were 2 other incidents. One, and 3 people were arrested as a result of the one where multiple shots were fired. And then a second incident where an individual, Deshayla E., who's deceased now, my condolences to her family, she was hit by one of the bullets from the first incident. And then we have this situation of this interaction between Donovan, Mr. Lynch, and an officer, which we don't know much because Donovan is not here to tell us. And, of course, the officer information has not been released yet.
This is it's certainly troubling what took place this weekend. Young man, entrepreneur. Saw one story. A first cousin to a singer for Pharrell, who's there from Virginia Beach, and again, the switching of stores is also a problem when it comes to these police officers because there were several stories being told Friday and Saturday. And so have y'all gotten actually a straight answer as to what exactly what went on?
No, not a straight answer as to what exactly went on. There was a press conference on Saturday where there was a sharing by the police chief that there was a gun in the vicinity. That's how he described it, as a gun in the vicinity. And he just left that statement there with the public. I guess that was a way for him to kind of change the trajectory of how Mr. Lynch may have been viewed in the situation. But what he failed to explain to the general public, which he has access to, is that Mr. Lynch was a legally gun permitted individual. And so if there was a gun found in the vicinity, then he was a legal gun owner. So what are you saying when you say that? I mean, again,
and Virginia's an open to carry state. So basically we're saying if you're white and you open to carry, cool. But if you're black, and in fact, the family's saying that he was approaching an officer to say hello, who he went to high school with, and he ends up dead.
I've heard that version of, yes, I believe that is what the family is saying, that there was a connection between him and the officer. Absolutely.
Well, certainly keep us up to date about this particular case and what happens next.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Kelly, what greatly bothers me again, I'm sorry. How the hell do you have a camera and you don't turn it on? The point of the camera is to record what the hell you do.
No, I am definitely a proponent of body cameras and any other type of technology or apparatus that is aimed at holding police officers accountable. So the fact that this camera was either turned off or never on in the first place shows to me that these officers more or less were deliberately trying not to be held accountable for their actions. It is greatly disturbing to me, but also expected that a white officer does not take into consideration that they have Black colleagues and they treat Black colleagues like they would a criminal on the street. That is greatly disturbing, but also expected. Unfortunately, it was also expected that these officers would either be acquitted or hung jury. And the like, which is why I'm paying so much attention to the Chauvin case regarding George Floyd, because this could truly set a precedent for cases across the country and across jurisdictions that it is possible to convict an officer of murder, of assault, of a crime that they committed, and they can't hide behind their badge any longer and act like they were just doing their job when clearly they weren't doing their job. That's why I'm looking so closely at the Chauvin case. But when it comes to this case, this is a clear-cut situation of business as usual, and we're trying to combat that theory. We're trying to combat that narrative with the Chauvin case and other cases coming down the pike. So hopefully, with the hung jury, it means that it's possible for this case to come back because it was a hung jury. So hopefully it comes back with more evidence, more proof, and a prosecution or prosecutors rather who really believe in the case and believe that these officers need to go to jail for what they did.
Well, look, bench trials, they might have to try again. I was in a St. Louis case here, but Mustafa, again, it baffles me. Every single time I hear one of these cases, oh, cop had a body camera, but it wasn't turned on. So now, same thing, of course, Breonna Taylor. Same thing when they had the protest there in Louisville, where the brother who's a barbecue restaurant owner was shot and killed. Oh, same thing. Oh, camera wasn't on.
You know, that doesn't fly anymore. There's new technology that's out there for those who follow these types of things. You know, there's technology that when you're about to turn the camera off, a voice can come on and say, you know, powering down the system now. There's also new technology where you have body cameras where it actually comes back on when you move. So it's all about if you want to make the investments to make sure that. But it's also about building into the process and letting your officers know that if you turn this off, there are going to be repercussions for you turning it off, you know, and whatever the sets of reasons are for someone being able to turn it off. The other part of it is, you know, when we go back out to St. Louis, we've got to stop allowing police officers to be able to move from one department to the next. We don't allow bad doctors to be able to do it. We don't allow bad dentists to be able to do it. So somebody who actually has your life in your hands, they should not be able to move around. And then the other part that I'll close off with is that the Department of Justice has to get engaged in these cases. And then they have to put the pressure on. They have to do the analysis that's there. And we got to stop funding with federal dollars these police forces that continue to have these significant problems. So if you want to get somebody to change, we've tried all these other things, and you got to hit them in the pocket. So they no longer get these federal dollars. If they have a case where they bust, you know, a drug ring or something like that, in many instances, they get to take in those resources. No, you don't get those resources either. So if you want to see change happen, then you also got to deal with it on the economic side.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have, you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it. please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.